is up, you guys? Welcome back to our channel. We're the Kincaids. If you've never been here before, I am Megan, and this is Logan.
Hello.
We have a very handsome puppy named Diesel. He's currently climbing all over our couch, and we have a beautiful daughter named Lou who is napping. We are so glad that you are here because today's video is a Bachelor recap. We're super excited to get into this video. This past week was the hometowns date. And let me just tell you, you guys, I have never paid such close attention to the hometown dates in my life. Normally, this is the episode that I'm like half watching and half on my phone. But for you guys, I paid very close attention and I took very detailed notes. And I'm so excited to get right into this. Do you have anything that you want to add before we start?
I was half watching and half on my phone.
Okay, you guys, so they each had their hometown dates, and honestly, I'm going to talk more about the dates than I am about times with the family. I am still going to talk about like all of the family time that they each had. It's just that they were all pretty much the same.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like the dads and the moms all want to know like what makes our daughter different, how can you be in love with her and 3 other people at the same time. Like it's all very generic. They all ask the same thing. So we're just going to focus more on the date portions of these hometowns. Okay. So the first thing that we see right out the gate, right into the episode, is Matt working out. And then Chris Harrison arrives because the whole pandemic and everything, all of the girls are still staying in their resort or whatever together. So he comes in and he talks to them about hometowns and like how it's such a monumental step, and tells all of the girls who came to see them. And I loved this. Like, you just know deep in your heart of hearts, like, yeah, on past seasons, it's always emotional when they get to finally go home and see their families. But like now that they're like in a pandemic and they don't even travel, they have to quarantine for 2 weeks before the show even starts. It's like this extra amount of time where they are isolated. So you know that this just means like 10 times more to them than it did in seasons past. So Chris is telling all the girls who came to their hometown dates, and they're all crying and they're all emotional, and for obvious, like correct, right, obvious, reasons. Can't think words. Anyways, I'm getting all jabbled. So Michelle is the first one to get a hometown date, and it was so cute. They both arrived for the date and they were wearing matching colors, and they go on like a little biking portion of the date, and
Which is funny considering the fact that Matt was working out
I
that morning.
I literally wrote right here Logan's quote,
"Are you kidding? I just worked out on the Peloton."
That's what Logan said as Matt. So after their little bike ride, they go and they enter into this like stadium type area. And Michelle tells Matt about like letting him into the important parts of her life. Dad, go ahead. I forgot to turn off the heat. Okay, sorry about that. We had to wait for the heat to turn off. Anyways, so Michelle is telling Matt about how important this aspect of her life is and how she wants Matt to be a part of it. Obviously, in past episodes, we have heard her talk about how passionate she is about her kids and teaching. She doesn't have kids. She just means like the kids that she teaches.
Right.
So they walk into this like stadium area, and all of her kids are on Zoom, and it is the sweetest, most adorable thing. I don't know what grade she teaches. It's like elementary, like first or second, maybe.
I was thinking second or third.
Darn it. What is happening?
You good?
My hair is just being so weird. Anyway, sorry. The kids all start asking Matt some questions, such as, what's one thing Miss Young has taught you? Have you kissed? Will you have babies? Are you going to marry her? How many girlfriends do you have? And then the last question was really sweet. One of the girls had read a note that Miss Young, Michelle, had written to her, and then asked, how will you inspire Miss Young? Which I thought was really sweet.
Oh, yeah.
And then they just end up like they're doing like a little picnic with no food on the side of a hill. I think it was like wine, no food.
There you go. That's a great picnic. Very filling.
So they're just chilling, and Michelle tells Matt that she was very hesitant about coming on The Bachelor, and all of her family had asked her, like, why would you do this? This isn't like your thing. And Michelle tells him that it was literally because Matt was the Bachelor that she decided to be on the show. Then we meet Michelle's parents, and they were the sweetest people. I absolutely loved her dad. We did not deserve him on our television. He was so sweet. So they walk in and they're all sitting in the living room, just like hanging out. And Michelle's mom tells Matt that she's just like watching how he looks at Michelle, like analyzes the like passion in his eyes or something. I don't know. It was so sweet. So then the first little like cutaway that we see is of Michelle and her dad talking, and they just kind of discuss like her past hardships and how her family has always been there for her. And she started crying, and literally in my notes I wrote,
"Who hurt you, Michelle?"
We need to know who hurt you so we can put them in their place, because you are too good. We don't deserve you. Then Michelle's dad asks her if she would accept Matt's proposal at the end of this, and she says yes. We also see Matt talking to Michelle's dad, and it was, like I said, pretty generic. Michelle's dad asks, like, what sets Michelle apart? Are you in love with her? And Matt actually doesn't say that he is in love with her. He tells her dad that, like, he wouldn't say that to Michelle unless he really meant it, and he doesn't want to say it, like, too premature, basically. We also see Michelle talk to her mom, and she also asks Michelle if she thinks Matt could be the one, and Michelle, of course, says yes. And both Michelle's mom and dad said that they completely trust Michelle's decision-making, so even if they are, like, questioning this whole process that is The Bachelor and how quickly things happen. This journey. They completely trust Michelle and whatever she decides. Then at the end of the date, they're all playing basketball together, and this was so cute. I absolutely loved this. And then before Matt leaves, Michelle tells him that she's falling in love with him, but he doesn't say it back, you guys. He doesn't say it back. So far, we have made it to hometowns, and Rachel is the only person he has said it to.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of Rachel, she is the second up on the hometowns date, and basically she asks Matt if he trusts her, and then blindfolds him and drives to an airplane. And of course that means that they will be skydiving. No.
I would do this.
No.
I
would never. You literally like sign a waiver before the show even starts filming that asks if you would be willing to do stuff like this, because odds are it'll happen.
Yep.
I also wrote down that this was not very romantic, because while they're on the airplane waiting to jump out and risk their lives basically, they don't even get to sit together because they're already strapped to the person that they're going to jump with.
Yeah.
Anyways, they jump, and I always think that the videos are really cool of them like in the air or whatever, but it also, I was like, how are they so chill? Like, they're just like in the air, you know, falling thousands of feet, and they're just like,
wow, everything's so beautiful.
I would be peeing my pants. I would be screaming. I wouldn't even be able to look at how beautiful everything is, because I would be like, I would have poop in my pants.
TMI.
Anyway, so Rachel ends up landing really hard. Like, it was like, this is Rachel and this is the ground, and it was like,
No. Better demonstration. Here's the ground. Here's Rachel. Feet. Bam. To the arm a couple times.
In Matt's ITM, he says, and I quote,
Rachel just literally slammed into the earth hard.
So he gets worried, and he runs.
He's so worried.
Okay, Logan's like dying to do his Matt impersonation of this moment, so we're just going to take a moment to record Logan doing Matt's impersonation.
It's worth it. So Rachel's over there. I'm Matt. Get up off the ground and everything. Rachel. Are you okay?
I did try to explain to Logan that Matt is so tall that a brisk jog for him it's like road runner speed for the rest of us, because his legs are so long. So Matt gets over to Rachel and he starts like picking grass out of her hair, and I wrote, how romantic.
So the medics come in.
Like professionally
These professional
trained
guys come over and they're like, okay, I'm going to tend to your wounds. But no, the entire time they're just picking hair or picking grass out of Rachel's hair.
I'm sure she was fine, and
which
that's
doesn't
why.
make sense.
Logan's obviously very worked up about this for some reason. But anyways, so Matt tells Rachel that he was really worried about her, and that like I don't know, something about how like you don't really realize how much someone means to you until you think that you've lost them. I just thought this was all very dramatic.
Oh, absolutely.
Anyways, so then we get to the portion where we meet Rachel's family, and this was really funny. Rachel's dad asks if they crapped their pants, and I was like, yeah, I would have, but they were like, no. And so then we see Rachel and her mom kind of go off. Rachel says that she's falling in love with Matt so quickly, and she just speaks very highly of Matt the entire time. Then we see Matt and Rachel's dad, and obviously dad is very concerned about, you know, the engagement happening so quickly. He says, I don't understand how you can truly care about someone when there are still other people in the picture. And he basically has the same exact conversation with Rachel. But Matt explains to Rachel's dad that they've always been honest with each other, and he tells Rachel's dad that he is falling in love with her. And this just like, it just reaffirms their connection, I feel like, because not only has he told Rachel, like he has said it back to Rachel, but now he's even told her dad. So I just thought that was bonkers. Ultimately, Rachel's dad says that he trusts whatever she decides, just like Michelle's dad. And then at the end of the date, Rachel, we get like an ITM of her saying that she was like really bummed because she was hoping that Matt would ask her dad like for his blessing or whatever.
Yeah.
But Matt explains to her that like he doesn't want to have that conversation 4 times just out of obligation. He wants to mean it one time, so that's why he didn't ask her dad, which I thought was genuine. Then we get Bree's one-on-one date, her hometown date. Matt says,
Mine and Bree's relationship has been comfortable, and I'm hoping to push past that today.
so basically, I think that kind of tells us that Bree is like falling behind in the relationships. So they basically recreate their first one-on-one date where they like were on ATVs and whatnot, and Bree shows up with like a Jeep and they go off-roading. Then they have a picnic in the middle of a field, and that was really fun. They discuss meeting her family, and she says that she's terrified because she doesn't have a conventional family, which I thought was just very like just genuine and like an honest thing to say. I really do, because when you go on this show and you have a hometown date, you're broadcasting your family to the whole world. And this was her way of saying like, I don't have like the cookie cutter family, and I'm nervous that it's not going to be everything you want it to be. And he was like, I admire that about you because we both come from single mom households. So like it's something that we share and that we can bond over. Bree then says in her ITM that she hopes to tell Matt she's falling in love with him tonight. We meet the family, and I wrote, Bree is gorgeous. Like honestly, I think Bree is one of the prettiest human beings I've seen in my life. She's just gorgeous. We meet Bree's mom, who just had a baby, and I was like, go you, like that you just pushed out a baby a couple of months ago and here you are on national television. Of course Matt, you know, says the very generic man thing, or women say this about men as well. Bree is holding her baby sister, and Matt says that he loves seeing her with the baby because he always envisioned what his life would look like, and seeing her with the baby like helps him paint that picture, basically.
What was he supposed to say?
No, I'm just saying like all men and women, like if on The Bachelorette one of the guys was holding a baby, she would have said the same thing. That's all I'm saying, is that you see someone with a baby and you just know that that's what someone's going to say, whoever they're in a relationship with. Then we get a little one-on-one moment with Matt and Bree's mom, and Bree's mom is like, what do you see in her? Are you in love with her? And Matt says, I'm definitely falling for her, but he doesn't actually say that he's falling in love with her. And then we get like a moment. Oh, Lou's crying.
You see?
I just heard her.
I got her.
Okay. Then we get the like one-on-one moment between Bree and her mom, and she says, are you in love with him? And Bree says that she's falling in love with him. Like, she doesn't necessarily say that she is or isn't. She just says that I'm getting there. And then Bree's mom says, like, vulnerability is hard, so it's okay if you're struggling. And then she says, like, worst case scenario at the end of this, if you don't end up with Matt, we are mending a broken heart together, which I thought was really sweet. We get to the end of the date. Matt is getting ready to leave, so they have their little one-on-one moment, and Bree tells Matt that she's falling in love with him, but he doesn't say it back. Again, he says,
Thank you for sharing that.
and then they kiss, and that's that's it. Then we get Serena's one-on-one date, and this was so sweet. They had a Canada-themed date, and it was so much fun. They like eat all this food, and they played hockey, and they did like Canada trivia, and it was just hilarious. I said that I love this date. They looked so cute together, and I just love how cute and dorky Serena was on this entire date. It was so fun. While they're doing the trivia, I wrote down a quote that Matt said because he was getting like all of the answers wrong, and he says,
I just hope her parents don't think I'm a moron.
I thought that was really funny. Hi, baby. Then they meet the family. It was an adorable family dynamic. Matt seemed to just fit right in with all of them. They were having so much fun. But we're just going to skip through all of this. We're going to just cut to the very end of the date. Serena has a one-on-one moment with her sister, and her sister like tells her, you don't seem smitten. I'm worried that you're going to get to the end of this and he's going to propose and you're going to realize that he's not your person and you're going to have regretted all of this. And so it plants these like seeds of doubt in Serena's mind, and she ends up having like a one-on-one time with her mom, and her mom is like trying to get to the end, like get to the bottom of why she feels so worried and why she's having these doubts. So she's asking her all of these questions, and Serena says that she can't quite put her finger on it, but then says that she feels like she can't trust her own feelings because of her last relationship. So she was in a long-term relationship before coming on the show. I don't know how recently this was, but Serena felt very strongly that this previous boyfriend was going to be the man that she married, so she ended up being very heartbroken in the end. At the end, they get like their one-on-one time, Serena and Matt, and Serena tells Matt about how she's struggling, and he says that she can talk to him about it and trust him. But then we get to the next day, and Chris Harrison comes to talk to Matt and kind of figure out where he's at in this headspace after hometowns, and Matt says that he's just kind of like questioning his relationship with Serena P, because at the end of their hometown date, she had a lot of doubts and was worried. So Matt goes to have some like one-on-one time with Serena before the rose ceremony, and he shares with her how he feels about the relationship. Serena sort of agrees with everything that Matt is saying, but then shares with him the conversation that she had with her mom, and then says, I thought that it was just fear, but it's more than that. I don't think that you're my person. So Serena goes home. She basically like just breaks up with Matt, apologizes for everything that happened, and just says like, I just honestly think maybe she wasn't ready. I think it was a Brendan moment. If you remember on Tayshia's season, Brendan realized he just isn't ready to be married again. His divorce was just still too fresh. And so I think the same thing was happening with Serena, where maybe her breakup was still just too fresh in her mind and she wasn't ready to move on. So we still have a rose ceremony, and all three girls get roses, which is great and happy and so fun. It's always hard when you get to that portion of the show and someone self-exits, because then when someone else gets a rose, or when like all three of the people remaining get a rose, you sort of question, would they have gotten a rose if so-and-so wouldn't have self-exited? You know what I mean? So if Serena wouldn't have self-exited, who would not have gotten a rose, you know? So yeah, that is the whole episode. Those are all of our thoughts. This coming episode is going to be the Women Tell-All, and wowza, I can only imagine how wild and just drama-filled this is going to be. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Be sure to like and subscribe on both YouTube and Facebook if you have not done so already, and make sure that you give this video a big thumbs up. Give it a like because it really supports our channel. And if you're watching this on YouTube, don't you forget to tick the notification bell down below so that you get notified every single time we post a new video. Don't forget to tell a friend, and be sure to tune in next time. Bye guys!